Now I went ahead and put together most of the tools that I'm going to need to do this service, to change the 3 oils that need to be changed: the hydro, transmission fluid, the engine oil, and the front axle, the oil in that. So first we're going to go with the hydro. I put together 3 tools that I think I'm going to need for this. 22mm to get the plug out, 24mm because I may need to take off one of the throttle, one of the pedals. There's a bracket there that may need to come off to clean the filter out, and I may need the 12 to get that filter out, but that's yet to be seen when we get in there. Again, this is the first time that I've done this. Over here, 2 different sockets. This one is a 17 and a 14. The 17 is for the front axle bottom plug. The 14 is for the 4 plugs. There's 2 that will actually drain it, and there are 2 breathers. Trusty adjustable wrench just in case. When we get into that, you'll see I say you need a 12 point because they are square. They're not a regular hex bolt. To change the oil, you're going to need the extension. You'll see why when we get there. 17mm. There's 2 bolts on the oil pan. I have an assortment of filter wrenches. You have 3 filters that you need to take off. We'll get to that in a moment. The other thing that I want to mention is there is a lot of fluid in this tractor. Approximately 10 gallons are coming out of just the transmission. So I went ahead and bought this 20-gallon Vevor oil drain pan. As you can see, it has a screen on the top. It's supposed to hold 20 gallons of oil, and it has a 12-volt pump to pump the oil out. That's quite a bit of oil when you're done that you're going to need to deal with. So I will be able to keep all the oil in this while I do the entire 50-hour service for the tractor, and then at the end I will be able to pump it all out for recycling into 5-gallon pails, bring that to a local auto parts store and get that taken care of. So that's going to be an essential tool. Other tools that folks use, I've seen people use masonry mixing tubs. There's, people have cut down totes to be able to slide under to catch all the oil and so forth. But I tried to make it really easy for myself. This thing rolls around. It has a wide stance. It's low to the ground, which is good. And I can use it for other things like changing the oil in the truck and some of the cars if I jack them up a little bit. All right, I'm going to use a long extension breaker bar to get this off here. One of the reasons why is then you can just see a little bit better too. So what we want to do is we want to loosen this up. It's not super tight to begin with, but this will just help us break that off a little bit. And again, give you something so you can see it coming off. I think one more little turn and this is going to be hand tight. Well, maybe a little bit more than that. Okay, I think that might do it. Not quite. So, just going to put it on the end of the ratchet now. Probably made this a little harder than it needed to be. Take this out of here, and a lot of fluid's going to come out. This is also, I believe, magnetic. There you go. Got a shop towel. I'm going to clean this off a little bit. Does have a magnet on it, but pretty clean. A little bit of metal shavings on there. Nothing major. It's good. A lot of fluid coming out. Smells good, looks clean. Well, good from the perspective of it doesn't smell burnt or anything like that. Let you watch this drain for a minute. looks like we're getting down to the end. We're going to let that drain for a couple more minutes. Now, I've had this camera off for about 5 minutes now, but it's still doing what you can see there. It's like there's, you know, something in there that's letting some fluid out, taking some air in, a little glug, glug, glug as it's draining down. I want to get as much of the original fluid out as possible, so I am going to wait a few minutes and really wait till those streams, or if it turns into one stream, gets down to just some drips. Again, I want to make sure everything that I can is out of there. There's a swash plate in there that's probably draining out, getting all the fluid and so forth out of that. I will take the screen out next to see what the screen looks like, but I will tell you, I'm pretty impressed with the magnetic pickup. There's really not a lot of stuff on that magnet. I've seen other people take their plug out and have a lot of metal shavings and stuff. There were some, but it wasn't anything extreme. The oil's pretty clean coming out of here. So we'll give it a few more minutes and then we will get the plug in and go from there. She's still dripping a little bit. That's okay. What I went and did is I went and put Teflon tape around the threads on the plug that's going to go back into the transmission. I did that because TYM had Teflon tape on there, so I'm going to assume that because they did it, it would be a good idea to keep some tape on there. So I'm going to go ahead, get a glove on, clean that around that where the plug goes back in, and then we will take some filters off. Okay, it looks like it's done dripping or pretty close. I went ahead and put some Teflon tape around the plug that goes back into the transmission. Reason I did that was TYM had Teflon tape on there, so I figured if they did it, it would be good for me to do that too. I'm going to go ahead and clean that up a little bit. This looks like there's a little tape on there that cleaned. Okay, still dripping a little bit, but that's okay. You can see the magnet's pretty strong there. Okay, plug's back in. Gonna go ahead and reposition the oil bin so I can get the front hydro filter off. Went ahead and moved the HVAC drain lines out of the way. Filter wrench on here. Oh. Spin it around. I see some fluid coming out. Filter actually looks pretty good inside. I don't know if you can see that very well. It's probably going to pour out. It's fine. Looks pretty clean. Can't really see it. What I'm going to do is I am going to use a little of that fluid on the rings, the rubber seal of the new filter. Full disclosure, I did use the same wrench that you saw to take it off, take that filter off, but it wasn't as easy as what you saw in the picture, in the video. I did have to wrench on it a little bit with that, pull it kind of tight, but it wasn't TYM tight like a lot of people talk about, where you just can't get it and you got to destroy the filter getting it off. This one was not like that. So we're going to go ahead, tighten this down. We want to get it tight, but we don't want to go crazy with it. So it's on there, all set. Now to the big hydraulic filter on the other side. Next, we're taking off the big inline filter. I heard horror stories about this. I'm not gonna tell you that I wasn't worried about it, and I needed a bigger wrench. So I went over to my friend Mike at CarQuest and I got this. It's a Lyle 53-250 filter wrench. I did pre-loosen this a little bit, but I put this Lyle on here. Oh, I got it backwards. And you know what? You're not seeing any magic here. That's really how easy it came off. Nothing terrible about that. Looking at the filter, I don't know if you can see this, but you'll see it dump out. Nothing collapsed in there. This was actually dented from the factory a little bit. That's okay though. I'm gonna let that drain out. I got a brand new TYM filter here. I'm gonna put on. I'm not gonna pre-fill this. I'm not worried about that. They fill up pretty quick. But I am gonna get some fluid here and put it around the gasket, the rubber. So we want that to go on nice and easy. This might be a little tough here, but I'm gonna give it a try. Hand tight. Never get it on right the first time. I'm not going to go TYM crazy with it, but it is still turning kind of easy. And we're going to call it right there. Not bad. That went on really easy. Brand new TYM hydraulic filter installed. Plug is in. The hydro transmission changed on the filter, changed on the other side. Last thing to do here is to take out the screen and the transmission. I'm going to work on that a few minutes, and then we'll show you how that all comes apart. Okay, we're going to show you exactly how hard this is to get to this filter. Let's see. Okay, I did get the right size, 7mm for the hose clamps. Now that's what's nice about having that screen. If I didn't have that screen on there, that socket would have been right in the oil. Nice. Okay, TYM, not going crazy with the hose clamps here. I like that. This one, of course, weird angle, but I think I can still get to it. I'm gonna change that up. But yeah, definitely okay. Not terrible. Not terrible. Move that clamp. Okay, got some paint on those. Let's see how horrible this is. Don't want to ruin this hose. Okay, this isn't what I'm going to call easy to do. But again, I don't think it's going to be insane. Pull this back a little bit. So I'm assuming, yeah, that's exactly what was going to happen. Okay, that wasn't bad. Now, I already took this loose in this bolt here. This little bolt's coming out. We're gonna see if I can use a little leverage here. Get that out. Okay, that's off. Interesting, no screen. Okay. Nothing. Okay, I'm gonna run in and get a little magnet and just go in there and make sure there's nothing in there. That'll just take a second. Be right back. Okay. Let's see. Magnet. What do we got? Clean as a whistle. Like to see that. Okay, put this back in. Has a little rubber gasket or an O-ring. Right, so that's great. And we will then tighten this one down. We don't need to go breaking tight, but we want everything snug. All right, that's the transmission. Everything, all the fluid's been out, filters have been changed. Now we need to fill it up. I'm gonna go get the mobile Delvac and we're gonna get that started. Okay, we're gonna show you exactly how hard this is to get to this filter. Let's see. Okay, I did get the right size, 7mm for the hose clamps. Now that's what's nice about having that screen. if I didn't have that screen on there, that socket would have been right in the oil. Nice. Okay, TYM, not going crazy with the hose clamps here. I like that. This one, of course, weird angle, but I think I can still get to it. Let me change that up. But yeah, definitely okay. Not terrible. Not terrible. Move that clamp. Okay. Got some paint on those. Let's see how horrible this is. This isn't what I'm going to call easy to do, but again, I don't think it's going to be insane. Pull this back a little bit. So I'm assuming, yeah, that's exactly what was going to happen. Okay, that wasn't bad. Now, I already took this loose in this bolt here. This little bolt's coming out. We're gonna see if I can use a little leverage here. Get that out. Okay, that's off. Interesting, no screen. Okay. Nothing. Okay, I'm gonna run in and get a little magnet and just go in there and make sure there's nothing in there. That'll just take a second. Be right back. Okay, let's see. Magnet. What do we got? Clean as a whistle. Like to see that. Okay. Put this back in. Has a little rubber gasket or an O-ring. Right, so that's great. Not a problem. That back in there. Push that in. Maybe bring that, get this on first. Like that. Perfect. And we will then tighten this one down. We don't need to go breaking tight, but we want everything snug. All right, that's the transmission. Everything, all the fluid's been out, filters have been changed. Now we need to fill it up. I'm gonna go get the mobile Delvac and we're gonna get that started. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and fill it up. Here's where the cap is. I have a funnel that I cleaned, made sure it was cleaned inside and out. That's where we're gonna be checking to see the level of the fluid. I'm going to use mobile Delvac. This is tractor hydraulic fluid and transmission fluid, safe for the brakes. A lot of folks use this as it quiets down the hydro a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the funnel in and start pouring some of this. Not gonna bore you with those details, but I do have 4 of these. It says it takes about 10 gallons. We'll see where it is on the stick. What I'm gonna have to do is fill it up, look at it on the stick, run all the hydraulics through the cycle to get any air out, then check it again. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and I will be back with you. Right now, we have 7.5 gallons in. Still not showing on the dipstick, so I will put another couple gallons in and then start checking it more often. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see this, but TYM said 10 gallons. That is 10 gallons right on the money on the dipstick. Maybe a little tiny tad above that, just a tad. But when I start it up, circulates through. I want to check it cold, but when it circulates through, I'm thinking that's going to be right on the money. And that part of the service is done. I just cycled the loader all the way up and down, no problem with that. Had the bucket, it's not on, but tilted all the way, curled all the way back, drove the tractor forward and back. Sounds great, feels great. I am just going to double check the fluid. I will put some marks on the filter to, just say it was the 50-hour service. What date I did it, that filter and the filter on the other side. Full 10 gallons of mobile Delvac in there. It's the filter over here for the hydro. Everything, again, seems to be working. No leaks. Perfect. Now on to the engine oil. Okay, now on to the engine oil in the tractor. I don't think this is going to be too difficult. One loose. Hardest part, maybe getting that out. But again, we have this big bin that can catch the bolt if it falls. Not a problem. One. Probably should have had a shop towel there. I'll clean the tool off in a minute. I'm gonna let that drain. Go get a shop towel, clean up a little bit, and then we'll take the filter off. Just gonna clean off the plugs. Well, it's draining a little bit. I don't think the filter is going to be too difficult. We'll be at that in just a minute. Plug one, put them back in the same spot. Probably don't need to, but going to. Engine oil, typical diesel black, not a problem. odd angle with everything, of course. Hand tight for now. I'm going to clean this up here. Just want to make sure everything. I don't like to leave oil in places where it's going to just attract more dirt. Probably won't make a difference, but we'll clean this out. So that's nice. That one, it's going to be a little bit more of a pain. What I'll do for that is take and put this in here. Just be careful with it, because obviously you don't want to cross thread stuff, but we're just going to go nice and easy. Make sure it threads all the way in by hand. That way you know you're not cross-threading anything. Okay. Clean everything up a little bit. Just doing the best we can with it. So I hate to see drips that are from oil that's left, because then you don't know if something's leaking. We're just going to give these a little bit of a tweak. They don't need to be overly tight. I mean, snug. Obviously you don't want them coming out. Those are both snug. We'll do a little cleaning again up there, just like that. Make sure. Okay. And then we're going to be on to the filter. Now, I'm not sure how tight the oil filter is going to be on here. We'll see in a second. Oh, TYM didn't go crazy with it. A little bit of a mess, not too bad. Kind of hits the skid plate a little bit. It's all right. Oh, I got a little bit on the ground. Didn't really want that to happen. Taking the new TYM filter. Let that drain for a second. That's fine. And while that's draining, you can watch that. I'm going to go get another shop towel. Okay, we're going to go hand tight, and then a little extra. Always the wrong way. I always do that. Okay, not going to go too crazy with that. And that part is done. Now, I've already cleaned the funnel. I'm going to go ahead and get the oil. I am using Rotella T6 5W40. I usually use 15W40, but been reading a lot about it. We do get some cold temperatures in the winter here, and I would rather have that viscosity, that first number, a little bit lower so the oil flows a little bit better in the cold. So it's going to be a 540 for that. I'm going to go get set up for that, grab that, and we'll get started. It says 1.13 gallons. So we're going to check to see where we are in the dipstick. I think we're close. Kind of hard to see the dipstick. Okay. What do we got? Look at that, right at the top of the mark. When that fills the filter up, that should, and circulate a little bit, that should be right on the money where we want. So I'm going to get this started real quick, get the cap back on, and then we're going to check the oil again, see where we're at. Okay, checked on the dipstick, looks perfect. Engine oil is kind of close to the top mark, which is fine, right where I want it to be. I'll keep an eye on it, make sure, you know, it's got enough oil in it. Went around, made sure there was no leaks from the transmission after changing the hydraulic oil. We're right on the money with that. Everything's perfect. 3-point hitch arms work, nothing's jerky or anything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and mark the filters, and then the next thing we need to do is change the oil in the front axle. The one thing I will say is this 20-gallon oil pan has been really great. I'm excited to use the pump to clear it out, but I haven't had to worry about it at all. Everything just drained down into that real nice. So I'm going to go ahead and get cleaned up here, and then we will move on to the axle. And the last step in the 50-hour service is going to be to loosen that's going to be the drain, that's going to be the refill. The center, that'll drain the center of the axle. And right over there on the other side will also drain where the gears are. So we're going to go ahead and get started on that. I will get the 20-gallon drain pan over here, and we'll get this started. And there you have it. 50-hour service is complete on the TYM 494. Make sure you hit that subscribe and like button. Thanks. Have a great day.